Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, not to me, but to yourself. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and truly asked, what am I bringing to the table? Not what you think you deserve, not what you've been told you're worth, but what you're actually offering another human being. Because here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to tell you. You're not single because you haven't found the one. You're not single because all the good ones are taken. You're not single because dating apps are broken or because modern dating is impossible. You're single because you're not ready to be found. We live in a culture that tells us we deserve love just for existing. That we're all special, all worthy, all entitled to our perfect match. But here's what they don't tell you. Love isn't a participation trophy. It's not handed out because you've been waiting long enough or because you've suffered enough heartbreak. Love is earned. Not through grand gestures or perfect looks, but through becoming someone worth loving. And that's where most people get stuck. They're so focused on finding someone who meets their standards that they've forgotten to become someone who meets anyone else's. Think about your last relationship that didn't work out. Really think about it. How much time did you spend analyzing what was wrong with them versus what you might have contributed to the dynamic? How much energy did you put into trying to change them versus changing yourself? Here's an exercise that will make you squirm. Imagine you had to date yourself. Would you be excited about that prospect? Would you look forward to conversations with you? Would you be attracted to your energy, your growth, your emotional availability? If you're honest, and I mean brutally honest, the answer is probably no. Because most people who are chronically single are running from the same thing. Themselves. You're not single because you're picky. You're single because you're not pickable. You're not single because you have standards. You're single because you haven't met your own standards. Look at your life right now. Are you genuinely happy with who you've become? Are you excited about your future? Are you actively working on becoming a better version of yourself? Or are you just waiting for someone to come along and make you feel complete? Let's talk about the elephant in the room, your emotional baggage. We all have it. The question is, are you carrying it around like a badge of honor? Or are you doing the work to unpack it? Every time you say, I have trust issues, what you're really saying is, I haven't done the work to heal from my past. Every time you say, I'm not ready for commitment, what you're really saying is, I'm too scared to be vulnerable again. Your past relationships aren't character references, they're learning experiences. But most people treat them like permanent scars instead of temporary lessons. They let one bad relationship define how they approach every future relationship. Here's the truth, the right person won't fix your trust issues. They won't heal your abandonment wounds. They won't make you feel worthy of love. That's your job. And until you do that job, you're not bringing a partner into your life, you're bringing a project. You say you want a relationship, but what have you actually done to get one? And I don't mean swiping on apps while watching Netflix. I mean genuine, uncomfortable, growth-oriented action. When was the last time you put yourself in a situation where you might meet someone? When was the last time you said yes to something that scared you? When was the last time you approached someone you found interesting instead of hoping they'd approach you? Most single people are living their entire lives in their comfort zone and then wondering why nothing exciting ever happens to them. They want love to find them while they're doing the exact same things they've always done, going to the exact same places, hanging out with the exact same people. Love requires risk. It requires putting yourself out there. It requires being willing to be rejected, to be vulnerable, to be seen. But most people would rather stay comfortable and alone than uncomfortable and potentially connected. Here's where it gets really uncomfortable. Your standards might be the problem. Not because they're too high, but because they're the wrong standards entirely. You have a checklist of what you want in a partner, their height, their job, their interests, their background. But what about the standards that actually matter? What about kindness, emotional intelligence, growth mindset, the ability to communicate through conflict? You're rejecting potentially amazing people because they don't check superficial boxes while accepting mediocre treatment from people who look good on paper. You're optimizing for the wrong variables. And here's the kicker, while you're holding everyone else to these arbitrary standards, what standards are you holding yourself to? Are you as kind as you want them to be? Are you as emotionally available as you want them to be? Are you as interesting as you want them to be? So what do you do with this uncomfortable truth? You get uncomfortable. You stop waiting for love to happen to you and start preparing yourself to be loved. Work on yourself not to become perfect, but to become whole. Address your emotional baggage. Expand your comfort zone. Become genuinely excited about your own life. Stop looking for someone to complete you and start completing yourself. The most uncomfortable truth of all? You're not single because you're unlucky. You're single because you're not ready. But here's the beautiful part, that's completely within your control to change. Stop waiting for love to find you. Start becoming someone worth finding.